Citizens of the United States of America. As the President of this amazing country, I advise it would not be in our best interest to go to war, and we should become isolists. First, we are not financially stable to enter war. 17% of Americans have been unemployed these past years, and now 30% live in poverty. The funding for the war is unrealistic and will produce debt for our country. With the damage done in World War I, not only to the world, but to our nation, it would not be wise to engage ourselves into another world war. As your President, it is in our best interest to avoid any conflict at all. Although we have not officially entered war, the Nye Committee has been investigating our involvement in the war, theorizing that it's not beneficial for businesses. The United States has indirectly entered war by being involved with foreign affairs. Due to the Neutrality Act of 1935, which was renewed a year later, we are able to support allied countries with weapons, as long as they transport the weapons. It is unnecessary to send our loved ones to their deaths when there are other alternatives. As we all know, World War I was a dark place for the American people, and a memory that was wished to suppress. Our morale, as a country, was at its lowest. Over 323,018 American soldiers were lost as a result of World War I. Just think about the undesired deportation and how it could infuriate the troops and you, the citizens, and as a result in a revolt. This leads to a civil war similar to that of the Spanish Civil War, where the government of Spain experienced mutiny led by the military. Rationing affected citizens' morale because lack of food and lack of freedom to food led to conflict. Politically and economically, we were weak during World War I, and World War I killed 9 million combatants and 5 million civilians, and cost $186 billion in direct costs, and an additional $151 billion in indirect costs. Germany was not an immediate threat to us, and their acts of aggression included annexation of Austria, and Italy invaded Africa and Ethiopia. Japan then invaded Manchuria, and Japan acted upon economic stability. If the League of Nations was powerless to this act of aggression, there was no need for us to intervene. I believe it is time to listen to Washington and remain an isolistic nation and better improve ourselves and focus less on European issues, because our country was torn on the idea of the League of Nations. Cash and carry two-year policy benefits us greatly in a neutral standpoint. New countries should not over-involve itself possible development of new enemies for new involvement. At the Munich conference, the European countries agreed to give Germany Poland. Mein Kampf, written by Adolf Hitler, was to be taken as a warning to the European people. It was a warning they chose to ignore. Their negligence is not our responsibility. As your executive leader, it is in our governmental, economical, and moral interest to avoid World War II at all costs, and learn from not only our mistakes, but the mistakes of those before us. If you do not learn from history, you are doomed to repeat it. Thank you.